Good.
With no surprise, I'm probably going to be at the other end of the spectrum from Dale. Philosophically, I don't think it's any secret that I don't believe that or let me put it to you this way, it would be the height of hubris for me as an elected official to force my fellow townfolk to make a contribution, perhaps against their will, to a charitable organization. I don't believe that property taxes are the right vehicle to fund charitable organizations. We hear a lot that, these organizations, they're giving so much in dollars as far as uncompensated care, but they're only asking for a little bit of money. And Dale, I'm going to, for the sake of discussion, I'll agree to your $6 to $12 figure per taxpayer. Still, on that basis, why is it my ability to force my neighbors down the street to all say, I want you to give to the charity of my choice? And I will also disagree, Dale, to some degree where you say, well, because the voters have approved some of these warrant articles in the last couple of years, it disproves the double dip and the outside control. I'll point out that certainly not all of the warrant articles have been approved, and in fact, most of them have been disapproved. If you look at the number of warrant articles that have been on the ballot versus those that have been approved. But I still think the strongest argument for me is not the dollars and the cents, but it comes from the sense of what is the proper role of government, and is it, in this case, the proper role of government to force its citizens to give to a charitable organization? And I think the answer to that is no.
And I would just add one small comment to that. Our vote tonight really is, we're unable to force anybody to do anything. Our vote tonight is whether or not this committee shows a vote of approval for these or not, and the voters will decide. Right. So ultimately, if 800 voters choose to do it and 700 don't, it's those 800 that have made that decision, not us. And I do respect that. Your personal philosophy of feeling that government funds should not be used this way. We've held that for a long time, and when I made my comments, you clearly knew I was not directing them to you.
Correct. No, we're having a friendly discussion here.
Ways to correct, but having said that, clearly the town, yes, sometimes more vote against, sometimes they vote for. If they all held your point of view, no one would vote in favor. So while I respect your point of view, it clearly is a divided issue.
And I agree with you on that. And it's always been my concern that I think these charitable organizations, when they say we need the community support for their matching funds, as was brought up by both organizations, my response to that is it shouldn't be up to the politicians to provide that community support, that they ought to be getting that directly from the individuals within that community that proves that community support.
Margo?
I think this is an argument we haven't heard yet, so that's why I'm putting it forward. To Skip's point about we shouldn't force our community neighbors to pay for these services, if you think about it, these agencies provide a service to many of the citizens in Gilford. Some towns have volunteer fire departments, and it is volunteer. I've lived in some of those towns. We here, for some reason, somewhere along the line, decided we wanted to have a regular service provided by the fire department, and so we set up a fire department and we paid them. And I don't think that's any different than paying Genesis or Community Health and Hospice to provide services for some unfortunate members of our community, and we may one day be one of them, to provide services. And it's done by, somehow along the way, it got approved by a majority of the town, and now we have a regular fire department. And I really fail to see the difference. They provide a valued service and a valuable service. And back in the day, our families used to provide those services, but that doesn't exist anymore for most of us. And so many of us will rely on many of these services at some point in our lifetime, or a friend will, or a family member will. So I don't think it's like giving to other charitable organizations, which are those are not
Well,
you
some
don't
of
really
them-
need them in your life.